This week, a new Taito collection is arriving on the scene. In the West, courtesy of publisher ININ Games, titled Parasol Stars. This collection is a bundle of 2 games, the TAITO CLASSIC Parasol Stars and Spica Adventure, a early to mid-2000s arcade game from Taito that acts as a spiritual successor to Parasol Stars. In addition to the bundle, both games are going to be available separately for purchase on various digital storefronts. ININ Games has provided me with a review code for the Switch version to check out prior to its launch on April 14th. And after checking it out this past week, I definitely have some thoughts on it. If you're into arcade games or retro games in general, then this is something you're definitely going to want to pay attention to. So as I said before, Parasol Stars contains 2 games, Parasol Stars and Spica Adventure. Let's start things off with Parasol Stars. Parasol Stars is the 3rd game in the Bubble Bobble series, and while it was released for consoles and certain computer platforms back in the day, it's pretty much an arcade-style game. It's actually so much of an arcade-style game that a lot of people mistakenly think that the various versions of this game are based off an actual arcade version of the game. But the truth is, there never was an arcade version of this game. Yep, an arcade version was never ever made. So there you go, a little bit of trivia for the day. The PC Engine, or the TurboGrafx 16 version, was the very first version of the game, and most consider it to be the best version overall. This was the most played version, and that's what we get here in this package. The goal of Parasol Stars is pretty simple. You need to defeat the enemies of each stage in order to advance to the next one, just like in Bubble Bobble and its sequel, Rainbow Islands. This time, you'll need to use a parasol to do so. Bubble Bobble had Bub and Bob, the main characters, as dinosaurs that could blow bubbles. Rainbow Islands had you, the player, using rainbows. And this one has you using a parasol. Yeah, it's weird, but weird is par for the course for the series. For the controls, you can move the character with the D-pad, and you can use the parasol button to, of course, use your parasol, and then there's a jump button. It's a pretty simple control layout for this game. That said, with the parasol, you can do a lot of things. Of course, you can attack enemies to stun them, but you can also pick them up with the parasol too, and launch them to defeat them fully, or even use them to stun or defeat additional enemies. The parasol can act as a shield. By holding down the parasol button, you can open your parasol to shield yourself from enemies attacking from your side, as well as projectiles. And holding the up button while holding the parasol button allows you to hold the parasol above your character's head to protect your character from enemies and attacks from above. Holding the parasol above your head also allows you to gather water droplets, and you can use these to attack enemies, as well as reach certain areas of a stage. Typically in boss fights, after obtaining a power-up, you can hold the parasol above your head to charge the attack that you can send towards the boss in order to damage it. Finally, with the parasol, if you hold the parasol button, after jumping or falling off a platform, you can slowly descend with the parasol open, as opposed to just, plopping down to the ground typically. So yeah, even with the button layout being this simple, you're actually able to do quite a lot as a player, and that's pretty cool. It's something that I always admired about this game, and Taito did a good job maximizing what you could do with just a simple button layout. That said, you're going to need to master these moves with your parasol if you want to get far in this game and score a lot of points, because buckle up, there's 56 stages in all to take on in this game. This is actually a surprisingly big game for an arcade-style one. Now, as someone who is very familiar with this game, let me tell ya, this game is freaking awesome. I consider it to be one of the very best games for the TurboGrafx 16/PC Engine console. The gameplay is addicting in this one, the controls are tight, the graphics look good, it's a very colorful game, and the music is some of Taito's very best of the era. What I absolutely love about this game though, is how many secrets are in the game. Just like prior games in the Bubble Bobble series, there's tons of ways to score points in this one. There's lots of fruits to get, tons of secrets to discover in each stage, and half the fun is trying to discover what you can do to activate these to gain more points or obtain a secret power-up. Sometimes it's simple, like doing certain actions or completing chain reactions, while other secrets can be a bit more tricky to find. This game has a ton of replay value, especially for those who love chasing high scores. If you love arcade-style games, then you should definitely check out this game. I consider this to be a must-play. Oh, and this game is a good co-op game too. It has 2-player co-op, just like Bubble Bobble and Rainbow Islands, and this in co-op multiplayer is just as fun to play as those games. If you have the chance, give co-op multiplayer a go. It's a lot of fun to play in co-op. This is a damn good classic, and I'm glad it's back, and it's easily available in the modern era. This release here keeps things simple in terms of enhancements. There's save states, a rewind and fast forward option, as well as enhanced controls that are customizable. There's cheats that you can enable, you little cheater you, screen filters, as well as ones that can recreate a CRT look, and there's online leaderboards. Speaking of cheats, stay tuned to the end of the video because there is an additional secret that you can unlock that isn't in the cheat menu, and I'll show you how to access that at the end of this video. Anyway, in addition to all that stuff, both the North American and Japanese versions are included here, though for whatever reason, the Japanese version has all the system menu stuff in Japanese. I mean, ideally both the North American and Japanese versions were pretty much the same, so yeah, maybe just stick to the North American version, but I don't know why they include the Japanese version here in this release, and all the system menu stuff's in Japanese. Like, there's no reason for that, that should have been in English. Anyway, for those who want to pick this up, you can get Parasol Stars separately from this bundle for $12.99 USD on the digital storefront of your choice. Though of course with Parasol Superstars, you can get this game with the next game that I'm going to talk about today, Spica Adventure. Spica Adventure is an arcade game by Taito that was originally released back in the early to mid 2000s in the arcades in Japan. This game never saw a proper release in the western part of the world until now, with this release on modern consoles. As I said before, near the beginning of the video, this is sort of a spiritual successor to Parasol Stars. In this game, you play as a little girl named Nico, who is armed with a yellow parasol. Unlike the prior game, where you need to defeat all the enemies in order to advance, this time around, you need to find the goal in each stage in order to advance to the next one. Of course, you still need to defeat any bosses that you encounter along the way. Just like Parasol Stars, this game has a rather simple control scheme. You use the analog stick or D-pad to move the character, and then there's a parasol button and a jump button. But the way she uses her parasol differs a bit from how Bub and Bob use it in Parasol Stars. Pressing the parasol button lets her attack an enemy, and tapping it repeatedly performs a combo. Enemies can no longer be picked up and thrown, but hitting them enough times with the parasol will defeat them. Nico can also launch the enemy upwards by holding down on the D-pad or analog stick and pressing the parasol button at the same time. Additionally, she can throw the parasol as a projectile. Press the jump and parasol buttons at the same time to send it flying through multiple enemies. She can pogo off enemies by holding down on the D-pad and pressing the parasol button while in the air. If she collides with an enemy while pogoing, she can launch herself back into the air. Holding the parasol button in the air will allow her to open her parasol, which allows her to hover a bit before she descends downward. Additionally, she can use wind machines to blow herself upwards, and she can automatically use her parasol as a boat of sorts when she's in water. Finally, she can use the parasol to slingshot herself across short distances. Hold down the D-pad or analog stick while holding down the jump button or the parasol button when you're in the air to stab the ground. While still holding the jump or parasol buttons down, press and hold a direction, either left or right. When you release both the direction and the parasol or jump button at the same time, Nico can launch herself in the opposite direction of whatever direction you were holding. She can do a similar slingshot technique while stopping a wall with her parasol, and she can even do the same thing while stopping a platform above her. You can use the parasol to block projectiles and certain side attacks by holding down the parasol button. You can also protect from attacks from above by holding the parasol button and pressing up on the D-pad or analog stick. So yeah, Taito did a pretty good job here by maximizing a simple control layout that lets you do a lot with the character with just 2 action buttons. Nico's pretty agile in this game, and she's pretty fun to play as you whip through the stages, defeating enemies along the way. The levels are pretty fun and colorful, there's a decent variety to the stages, 28 in all, and I do like that at certain points you can choose your own path, just like you can do in many other Taito games, so there's actually quite a bit of replayability here, in addition to all the high score chasing. That all said, compared to Parasol Stars, Spica Adventure doesn't really have the depth in terms of secrets, and it lacks co-op multiplayer. That's the only knocks I'd give it. Nevertheless, the game I found to be pretty fun, and I think it's worth checking out if you love to play a good arcade game. This release includes 3 different modes, the first being the standard normal mode. This mode allows you to play the game with a number of enhancements, including improved controls, with dedicated buttons for throwing the parasol, and launching enemies upward. This mode allows you to choose your starting level, use unlockable cheats, and adjust various settings, including the game's overall difficulty. Challenge mode allows you to play the game at a selected difficulty with the goal of achieving a high score to submit to the online leaderboards. Original mode allows you to experience the game as it was originally intended, with unlimited credits, though you can still adjust certain settings. Additionally, you can further adjust the controls in the option menu, turning off and on enhancements as you wish, and in the bonus menu, you can access some unlockables and gallery stuff. For those curious, there is no save states or rewind features in that here. That said, it's still a solid release overall. Spica Adventure is pretty good. It's a very fun, colorful, very cute, very Japanese game. And if you like arcade games, Rainbow Islands, games like that, then I think you'll dig this one. And the modern release here is pretty solid for the price tag. You can get this on its own on digital stores like the eShop for $19.99 USD. But together with Parasol Stars in the Parasol Superstars bundle, you can get it for $24.99 USD. As you can tell, with Parasol Stars being $12.99 and Spica Adventure being $19.99, getting them for $25 is without a doubt the better way to go. But it gets even better, because ININ Games is doing a limited time launch sale for the bundle. It's going to be $19.99 USD during its first week. $19.99 for the bundle? Yeah, if you like arcade games, then it's definitely worth picking up at that price. Parasol Stars is a classic with lots of replayability, and Spica Adventure is a fun arcade game itself. And together for $20? Yeah, I think it's worth it. I mean, it's still worth it at $25, mainly because Parasol Stars is so good, but hey, at $20, I think it's a pretty sweet deal. Now for those with a Switch 2, the eShop versions of these games are both backwards compatible with that system, and you can use the handheld boost mode option with these games to take advantage of the higher resolution screen of the Switch 2. Now, since we're at the end of the video, how about that secret I told you about earlier in the video? Well, in Parasol Stars, after you choose your mode and you enter the main game, where it says press the A button, hold down on the D-pad or the analog stick, and then press and hold the jump button, and then press the right parasol button. For example, on Switch, you would hold down on the D-pad, then hold the B button, and then press A. If you try this with the left parasol button, which would be the Y button on the Switch controller, it won't work. You'll want to do this in a quick succession, and then you'll get access to the Parasol Toy Box, which is a music player that allows you to listen to all the tunes in the game. But it will also show you how it plays on a piano keyboard. It's pretty neat stuff. It's a neat little thing. Anyway, with that all said, let me know down below if you aim to pick up Parasol Superstars, or if you have played any of the games in this bundle before. Feel free to chime in the comments down below. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on so you do not miss out on any future videos. I got a lot more coming your way, and you definitely do not want to miss a thing. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you soon on the next video.